Go.
All right. Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Father's Day to everyone, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Leesburg. Our theme for this year is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And our focus for the month of June is the soul's call. Today's talk is What's Evolution Without Love? Given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. We're so happy that you joined us here today. We invite you to get comfortable,
And
relax
welcome
as
to CSL
we begin
Leesburg.
our service.
We're good? Sorry.
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly. And so it is. Please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like to have included later in our service when we provide our affirmative prayer, which is our form of community spiritual mind treatment. And now we move into our time of meditation with Charlene.
Hello, everyone, and good morning. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there. So let's just do a love meditation. I invite you to just get comfortable and we'll listen to these meditation bowls, these singing bowls, as they remind us to just look within for the divine. So breathe with me, one nice deep cleansing breath. And just rest in knowing you are loved. As we continue to breathe deeply into our center of our being, we know that the divine is right where we are. against the floor for a sense of grounding. Our spine straight to allow the energy to flow from above through all of our chakras and into our root, into the ground. Anchoring our awareness. Pulling our attention back into ourselves. From the concerns of the morning and hubbub of technical setups, and just pulling back all the pieces of our attention. Pulling back, pulling in. Another deep grounding breath. And now just taking a moment with the mind's eye, just imagining a bee, a honeybee, suspended in midair as it slowly and carefully approaches a flower. It's hovering in midair, and you can just see it with your mind's eye. For the attraction is both ways. The flower needs the bee to spread the pollen, and the bee needs the flower for what it offers. And in your mind's eye, I invite you to just watch the bee as it lands on its destination. And as that communion continues, just watch in awe how nature just knows how to take care of itself. This is love in action. Love, the activity of being who we really are. Knowing that all that we attract to ourselves is for our greater good. From the flower point of view, we are beautiful. We are radiant. We are as the Creator made us. We do not need to work hard at being a flower. Just be. Speaking of the bee, from the point of view of the bee, we too have divine urge in us to seek what it is that feels right for us. This is love in action, going out and doing. The divine urge impulse in us is there for a reason, and we honor it. And what we seek is seeking us. This divine urge of love, this love-based evolution moves in and through and as each and every participant in this entire universe. For we are watching a simple, tiny little sliver of the vast, vast reality of life. And we get to participate in every moment in this love, whether we will be the receiver, the recipient, just being beauty and allowing and receiving, or whether we are that seeker. We are both. In each moment, we get to choose which of these love personas is going to activate through our beingness. These hands in our laps, these are the hands of God. These eyes are the eyes of God. And God is love. This awareness that we are love, that we are the hands of love, we are the eyes of love, we are the heart of love. This awareness, I'm so grateful for. I'm so grateful for having just taken a moment to visit the life of a bee and a flower, to remind myself, I too am love. It's good to know these truths. It's good to take this time just to remember who we really are. So I invite you to simply leave the bee and the flower and the rest of the field. Leave it knowing we can return to it at any time. And just gently pull yourself back into this present moment, into the room in which we sit by wiggling our extremities and bringing our awareness back into the room. And when you are ready, please open your eyes and open your hearts and your ears, because we have the soul pajamas and they're going to share a wonderful selection with us.
So as you listen to this song, just picture God, however you define that to yourselves. Picture God singing this to you. This is a love song from God to you. What are you waiting for? Believe in me. Isn't it love in this world that you need? You can offer your soul to an altar of sacrifice, or give your heart to me. Let's bring heaven down here. Let's bring heaven on down. You don't have to wait for the angels. Let's bring heaven down here. What's in the sky so big that you can't find? Only with love could you be more divine. How can I help you believe forever and evermore? To trust your heart to me. Let's bring heaven down here. Let's bring heaven on down. You don't have to wait for the angels. Let's bring heaven down here. You can hold my hand. Don't you know salvation is the warmth of my embrace? You can close your eyes, feel my light upon your face. I'm with you now. I'm right by your side. What are you waiting for? Believe me. Isn't it love in this life that you can offer your soul to an altar of sacrifice, or give your heart to me. Let's bring heaven down here. Let's bring heaven on down. You don't have to wait for the angels. Let's bring heaven down here. Bring heaven down here. Bring heaven down here. Bring heaven down here.
Wowee, that was amazing. Thank you. Bring heaven down here. Perfect. Yes, so the title for today's talk is what is evolution without love? So that I love the title, Bring Heaven Down Here, because we all know that there is no down here. It's really more bring it out of where we are. But I love the idea that the pie in the sky idea of heaven, why would we wait? A lot of the teachings tell us to wait till, when we get to heaven, then it's going to be awesome. Can we have it now, please? So, especially because of love. Now, a lot of times we think about love. A lot of us in this language that we speak is so limited in terms of words that we have to convey the different types of love that there is. There's so many different types of love. And I know, I've heard in the Chinese language there are tens of words for love, like 30 different words for love. I'm grabbing 30 because it sounds right, but there's more than a dozen words for love, because there's the love you have for your kids. There's the love you have for your pets. There's the love you have for your fellow neighbor. Then there's the erotic love it seems to be the only kind of love we talk about in our language. But when we talk about evolutionary love, we're talking about the divine, the Creator put inside us the ability to, in fact, that little spark that I talked about that was in each of us that we have to awaken to, that is in everybody. And in fact, from that impulse of love, when we evolve from that space, what we create is so much more uplifting for everyone than when we create from a space of separation. So the difference between love is definitely not hate. The opposite of love is indifference or fear or separation. Those things unhook you from others. In fact, if you think about it, if I hate somebody, well, there's a really strong connection between me and that person, right? So it's really close to love, like a love-hate. They talk about that as being the same thing. Well, when you really just don't care, either way, You just don't see yourself as part of that person. You think you're separate from it. That is the opposite of love. And the things that can come can be so damaging. So the title of the talk here, What is Evolution Without Love? Means let's focus on the love first. And then whatever we create that evolves from that will be so uplifting and so on point for everybody involved that if you don't have it and you try to evolve, it may not be called evolution at all. It may be called, is there such a thing as devolving? Because I feel like there's a word like that. So what's the opposite of devolving? Like undoing? Yeah. So we have to be careful and make sure every day. Because listen, we are part of spirit, which is a changeless reality. And you've heard the term, God or spirit is the same yesterday, today, and they use the word forever. Yesterday, today, and forever. The same spiritual principles exist. Yesterday, in the past, today, right now. And for this talk, let's pick tomorrow. Because there are for the current span, today is Sunday, it's Father's Day. But yesterday was Juneteenth. So if we go yesterday, today, and tomorrow, what is tomorrow? It's it's summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year. It has big, hefty, implications. And so I think for this talk, I'll go ahead and rephrase our little Bible phrase. From yesterday, today, and forever, let's go. How does love show up? Evolutionary love that changes who we are. How did it show up yesterday on Juneteenth? How does it show up today on Father's Day? How does it show up tomorrow on summer solstice? So let's dig in. The first thing I want to talk about is freedom, and that would have to do with yesterday. So as we know, Juneteenth is a celebration that has been going on for many, many years. It originated in Texas, where enslaved Africans, don't get me started. People, oh yeah, they were slaves. Excuse me, they were enslaved Africans. Let's change our speech. It's just so denigrating. Oh yeah, you're a slave. No, I was kidnapped from the motherland and forced into slavery. So enslaved would be the word. So don't get me started on that. But anyway, these enslaved Africans were working hard in the field months after they had actually been freed. But they weren't told that they were free. But the story goes, on June 19th, they discovered, wait a second. Finally, they were told, did you know the Emancipation Proclamation was signed into law? And yeah, we couldn't really enforce it because we were still kind of fighting stuff. But y'all's been free for a minute. And they were like, what? We're free now? Excuse you? Let's have a party. So they had a big old party. And to this day, African-American families celebrate Juneteenth by the cookout. You know how we do. We got the cookout. We've got all kinds of parties. There is dancing and possibly some electric slide. In the most recent cookouts, you got to have the line dancing because that's part of the party. So that has been the case for years. I only found out about it, I was in my 20s when I found out about it from a girlfriend whose mom was very, very, very active in the whole, the human rights thing. Now, they had the comfort. I think back to my friend, her name was also Karen, like one of the ladies in our group. And she was beautiful, blonde hair, blue eyed, sweetest girl you'll ever meet. But you hear her start talking, she sounds like Reverend Sunday. And she's very aware of the whole effort of Black people and the oppression and she knew who Medgar Evers was before I even knew how to spell that. And so she grew up with a mom who fought and marched and protested. I grew up with a mom who was working 2 different jobs, and she, when you're in a Black family, you keep it together. I told you, I grew up in a family of respectability politics, so we didn't do a lot of protesting, and that's fine. So she told me about Juneteenth, and I was like, what is happening? They didn't tell. That's terrible. And so we went to cookouts, and we celebrated. But now, guess what? The whole world knows about Juneteenth because Joe Biden and the people in office voted it in as a holiday. So yesterday there was a big party, And unfortunately, I wasn't able to go celebrate that party. But some people in my congregation went to the party, to the Juneteenth celebration in Leesburg. And I was wondering how it went. So I want to call Elaine, one of our most active social activists in our group. Elaine, how was Juneteenth?
It was an awesome experience. I'm so glad I went. The crowd was very diverse. We had a brass band lead the way, playing We Shall Overcome in a kind of a wild tempo, but it was cool. And we walked from the courthouse down to a place in Leesburg where a hanging occurred, when there was a memorial there. The 14-year-old Black boy that was lynched there. That was our end point. And as we were walking through the town, singing and dancing, I noticed my friend thanking the police officers for helping us, for closing the roads and protecting us. And I thought, well, that's a nice thing to do. I'm going to do that if I pass a police officer. So eventually I looked and saw this big old white man, police officer coming down the, showing up in my view. And I'm like, I wonder how this is going to go down. I have to confess, I thought that. But I thanked him for helping us. And he said, thank you for being here. And I thought, wow.
That surprised you? Because
That did surprise me.
Nice.
But that whole feeling was just everywhere in the town. It really was. And the rally was fine. There were a lot of speeches, but one thing that I really liked was someone had found a quilt in an antique store that was made by a family that was working the Underground Railroad. And in the center of the quilt was a big yellow square.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the symbol that the enslaved people, when they were walking the railroad, would look for safe, you're safe here. And that was presented as a gift to the NAACP. So just to see that was really there when all this was going on. That was a special moment, I thought. Then I left. Was tired, dehydrated, and I stopped at one of our local restaurants to refuel. And there was a white family with teenagers sitting close by, and they said, would you like to sit with us? And I'm like, oh, no, thank you. I just kind of wanted to be alone. But they said, what's going on down the street? And I said, oh, it's a celebration of the new holiday. And they said, Juneteenth? Really? That's awesome. So that was good. But I think the thing that affected me the most was my waiter, who was a young Black man. And the more I rethink this, the more symbolism and stuff I can see. But he came up with two glasses of water, and put them down on my table. And I said, oh, it's only me. He said, no, it's not just you. I'm here too. And then he winked at me. And I'm like, okay, and I had to stop and think about that for a minute. And he left those two glasses. He purposely put those two glasses on the table, I remember now, as a symbol. Well, I finally figured it out, because during the march, we were given these ribbons to wear, and I had that on my shirt. So he knew where I was coming from.
Yes. See, that's a red, black, and green.
I was in the oneness and didn't even know it.
Yes.
For a few minutes,
Nice.
Then when we got done and I paid my bill, he says, we're in this together, don't you?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I do.
That warms my heart.
So
thank you, Elaine. I'm so glad that you were able to attend that and just represent for us. I know you have always been a really big advocate for the movement. I'm just so grateful for you. And in a town that had so much, you had shared on a text with everybody the history of all of the slavery and all of the heinousness that happened in Leesburg, in that very area, and just to replace that energy with one of healing and that diverse marching and the personal experience that you had. That warms my heart.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Thanks, Elaine. Our community is so wonderful. I'm so grateful to be a part of it, you guys. And I know that we are on the leading edge of the CSL movement that is aware of, the need to be anti-racist, not just I'm not racist. No, anti-racist, which means fight at every chance that you can get. And yeah, I said fight because that's something that we are called to do. And in fact, speaking of that, we talk about love being self-giving, the givingness, the going forward, and the putting in place or the putting in motion of things. I think of that as masculine energy. Feminine energy tends to receive, much like the flower in our meditation. The masculine energy goes out and seeks and does things. And so we celebrate the masculine energy today with our Father's Day celebration. And I want to just point out that all the fathers in this CSL community are such great examples to our youth of what it's like to be a strong yet sensitive and spiritual man. I just appreciate every single male in our community. You guys, you're holding it down, and I appreciate your presence. Because, as a single mom, it's kind of hard to find that. You're raising a boy, or I should just keep it with me. I'm raising a boy at the time, and I spent a lot of time consciously aware of the need to have male role models in his life. Of course, his granddad, Richard, my dad was like Blake's dad. Like, those two would kick it, and they'd do all the guy things, and they just have such that precious relationship. And in every day, since I'm living all the way on the East Coast, and we don't see Grandpa every day, I was looking around for a lot of male role models, and I was conscious of the fact that even though my son's biological father is a white male, yes, there's tons of white males represented in good fatherly roles, not only in our community here, but also on TV and all the magazines. You get a lot of representation of a good white guy who's a dad. But how about good black guys who are dads? There's not a whole lot of that. Even Bill Cosby ended up going down in flames. I mean, that was, right, Mr. Huxtable. And then, whoops, he did what? Excuse me? Oh, my God. So what was I to do? When I moved to the East Coast, I joined up with a group called Jack and Jill of America. And in that group, there are tons and tons of black fathers with families. And so I joined up with that group, so grateful that they would have me as a single mom. And boy, I tell you, some of those dads grabbed Blake, put him on their shoulders, and just kind of tossed him in with the rest of the kids. And he just had such a great childhood with all these different surrogate dads. So fatherhood, to me, as I watch it unfold, it is not just about your biological offspring, because I'm told anybody can do that with the right circumstances. Anybody can make a baby, but can you raise one? And so I was so grateful to watch my son be taken under the wings of men that because think about it, Blake's gonna be a black father. So if he has kids, obviously, but he gets to see what that looks like. And yeah, maybe I didn't have that in my house, but I'll be darned if I didn't find it somewhere and offer it up to him. It's important that fathers who tell us, this is what the fathers tell us, go for it, you could do it, knock them dead, And even my dad, he would show me, Richard would have me under the hood of the car. I'd help him change the oil, slide under the car, do something underneath and turn the thing. I'm the one helping with the mechanical stuff. I considered myself his boy, because my dad didn't have any sons, but I was the closest. I'd be out there doing all the boy stuff with my dad. And he'd always, say, go for it, you could do it. And he'd just watch me on the computer and be like, you're so amazing. And I'm like, yeah, huh? I'm amazing. Something about a dad's love that just makes you know that you got this. And it's so awesome to have that in our lives. And so that givingness, that self-givingness, the way that our Creator, the universe, the divine spirit, created us with that impulse to go do that thing, also created us with the knowledge that we can do it. And it's that love that we wake up with, that inspiration that we get, that comes from the divine masculine that says, go for it, you can do it, you got this. And then every now and then, look at you, you're so good at this. You know, it doesn't overly, it's not overly concerned or worried. It just says, go for it, you got this. And that is the way that love, so love to me points our hearts in the direction that we should go. And we keep getting feedback that we're doing it right. Now, what does that feedback look like? It looks like success. It looks like progress. And if you find yourself, in my opinion, if you find yourself going for it and you keep hitting a wall, that's a clue that that's not the thing to go for. If you keep hitting walls and it keeps being hard, probably you should be trying something different, doing it in a different way. And it's because I think that when I'm in alignment, it just flows. And the universe seems to just parts the river the way Moses did with that, staff, just parts it, and all the trouble just ceases, and I'm just allowed to go forward. And so that to me is how we're in the today moment. So yesterday, Juneteenth, freedom for all, because ain't nobody free till all of us are free. I'm sure someone said that at some point. Today, Father's Day, that divine love, that a divine impulse pushing us forward in the direction of our dreams, because we got this. This is how we evolve our lives with the divinity of spirit and the you can do it source behind us. And what about tomorrow? Tomorrow is summer solstice and what is it? Yeah, summer solstice, that's right. And it's all about light. Now, at this part of the hemisphere, the northern hemisphere is in the middle of the longest day of the year, known as summer solstice. But guess what? On the other hemisphere, southern hemisphere, they've got the shortest day. So they're in their winter solstice right now. And so what does it mean when we're in the summer solstice, the longest day with the most light? This is when we get to sort of come out and celebrate and live our lives loudly. That's no mistake that Pride Month is also June, right? Because the light, come out into the light, celebrate who you really are. Enjoy that, live out loud. It's the light that brings this. In fact, we all receive some light. So even for us on the northern hemisphere, where there's a lot of light, well, guess what? The opposite of that is happening in the southern hemisphere. There's a little bit of light, but there's mostly darkness. God is in both, the light and the darkness. I'm reminded of the yin-yang symbol, where there's a black piece and then a white piece, and that both of them have inside of it the other color. And God is in all of that, in the darkness, in the light, expressing itself as us. We do not need to shun the darkness in favor of the light. God is in all of it. So we sit within it and wherever we are, and we enjoy where we are, because we know that things will always change. Things always change. That's what you can count on. The only thing that stays the same is the fact that things change. And so we find the ability to sit where we are and live that way. And so our yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we know that in this celebration, or in this, wherever we are in this very moment, we simply move forward in love, knowing that love is powering our path. And when love powers the path, it's good for all. And I just want to say one last thing. If you guys have any sort of trouble, we all do. We have trouble in life. One thing I'll remember for myself is that if I'm about to make a move, I have to not move until I know that I'm walking in the love of God. If I'm about to make any move out of fear, distrust, worry, or anything like that, I have to stop and sit still until I know that I'm walking in love. The love of God holds me, and then I can move. Because I have to say, every time I look back and see the times where I made mistakes or I've made things harder for myself, They were reactionary moments where I thought that I wasn't walking in God's love. Not saying that doing this will stop all your problems, but when you're walking in the love of God, then it's going to be good, no matter what the external circumstances will say. Because God, according to Creative Mind, Ernest Holmes said, God has already done for us in a mechanical way all that God can do. And having been given the ability, we will have to do for ourselves the rest. So let's do this for ourselves. I invite you to prayer. As we go within, knowing that we are in the midst of the love of the divine, that it moves through each and every one of us, because that is its nature. It is its creation. God is its creation. And it's more than that. It is the ultimate ground of the beingness that we all enjoy. It is life, and it is all that is seen and unseen. There's nothing happening that's not within the realm of the divine, because the divine is all that there is. And so with this knowledge that God is all there is, I know that we, each and every one of us, are all part of God. And that we can sort of bring out the qualities of God because it's right here within us. And all we have to do is bring our attention to it, and then it reveals itself. We move toward it, and it reveals itself. And everything is happening internally. It's about our thoughts. It's about our temperance. It's about our beingness. And so we take this moment, I take this moment to speak my word for all of us here within this meeting and all that will ever hear these words in the future. We are the divine. We are the hands of the divine. We are the eyes, the heart. We express the divine. And so we choose. I speak my word that each and every one of us has a choice today and chooses to walk in the love of God, to perform, to outpicture the divine idea, the highest idea for us in every situation. I speak my word that we have the courage to listen within and know what is being said and what is being asked of us. And then we have the courage to go and follow that. And that the divine is speaking to us, telling us we can do it. We follow our urges, we follow our insights, we follow our inspiration, and we go for it. And beautiful things are unfolding. We show up. I speak my word that we do as Elaine did, and we just sort of show up and we allow life to just be life as us, just showing up. Watching how things are changing right under our gaze because we showed up. Doing what is required of us to do because we are part of the one. And we are helping this whole planet evolve into its next best yet to be. Not out of a sense of fear, worry, lack, or limitation, but out of love for ourselves and love for each other. And I can't wait to watch how all of this beauty unfolds. And I'm so grateful to have this community, have these teachings, have this, everything that's happening. I'm so grateful that it's happening in my life now. I release my word into the law because it is already done. And I just simply say, thank you, God. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. And so it is. Amen, Ashe. And now the Soul Pajamas, take it away.
I feel a rhythm beating in my heart, blessings from above. I hear message in the melody, and it's all about love, 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 love. Gives me hope for the world. I know it can't be just me. Will be others who will sing along, and that's the way it should be. I feel the wisdom burden in my heart, a blessing from above.
Blessing from above.
I hear a message in the melody, and it's all about love, love, love. It's all about love, love, love. There are times we must sing, other times we just dance. Tomorrow might be too late, so let's not miss the chance. I feel the message beating in my heart, a blessing from above.
Blessing from above.
I hear a message in the melody, and it's all about love, love, love. It's all about love, love, love. God must be a lover of jazz, a band leader in disguise. The master conductor has created us to improvise. I am rhythm beating in my heart, a blessing from above.
Blessing from above.
I hear blessing in the melody, and it's all about love, love, love. And it's all about love, love, love. It's all about love, love, love. It's all about love, love, love.
Woo! That was awesome. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Charlene. Thank you, Elaine, for sharing such a moving experience that you had yesterday. And thank you, of course, Soul Pajamas, for that wonderful music. Now it's time to bless the donations that are shared today. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation. So we are a tithing community. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. Please look at our screen. There are so many ways to give. It's really easy to find a way that works best for you. We thank you so much for your support. And now, no matter how you are giving, please take that gift physically or mentally and just place it over your heart and join us in our affirmation of oneness. The presence of Spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. These offerings are just a few of the ways that we take what we receive and we give locally to members and guests. So please join us on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Join Charlene and her team for their dream study at 9 a.m. And on Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m., join us for our prayer and visioning service. It's a great way to take all the energy, the positive energy and the love that you received here today and just spread it out a little bit through the week because we all need that. If you are a guest, please feel free to join us afterwards when we share our pearls, those little nuggets in the service that really spoke to your hearts and minds. And if you're a visitor, please stay and introduce yourself. We'd love to have the opportunity to officially greet you. And now, as we end our sacred time together, let us once again place our hands over our hearts and join me by saying out loud, I am love. Now look around you. Maybe there's somebody with you. Maybe you're just looking at people on the screen. Maybe you're thinking about that special father or father figure who's been in your life. Just send out that message. You are love. Now, join me by putting your hands up in the air in something we call love sprinkles. And remember, folks, it's all love. God is love. God is all there is. Thank you so much for joining us and